Hey guys, welcome back to Smokin' Meats. My name's Steve Petrato. Welcome to my outdoor kitchen, and today I'm excited because it is my first cook on the brand new Traeger Ironwood XL. All right guys, so for this cook, we have went to Costco and we picked up some beautiful loin ribs. These are loin back ribs. They're nice and meaty, but they do need a little trimming for these to be a better cook. So I'm gonna walk you through that process, how I take the backing, the membrane off, and also the slather and the seasoning. And then we'll get them on our Traeger, which is currently running at 225 super smoke for this initial break-in cook on the brand new Ironwood XL. So let's get right to it. The first thing I've noticed is one of these, in fact this one in the front here, has a ton of extra meat in the front that's not attached to any bones. So we're gonna go ahead and start working on that. You can kind of see I can feel there's one bone and then a bunch of extra meat. If you don't take this meat off, it's just gonna get burnt. It's not gonna look that great. So we're gonna go ahead and set the first rib on my cooking surface here, on my prep surface. And we're just gonna go ahead and feel for that bone and we're gonna trim it up right there. Now, you can do a little stronger trim if you're trying to make these look more competition, but we're trying to feed people today. And again, this piece of meat here can be used for other purposes down the road. You can throw it on the grill and use it as a little snack later as well. That works just fine. Then we're gonna go ahead and check the rest of this, see if there's any extra fat down here. And this looks actually really good. So we'll flip it up to the top, check it out. And again, not a lot of extra hanging pieces from the butcher process. You can see right here, a little piece. We're gonna go ahead and just remove that as well, just to make this cleaned up a little bit. Otherwise, you'll again have a burnt piece that you won't want to eat after the fact. So clean up your ribs as best as you can. You can do as little or as much as you'd like. There's also some hanging bits down here I'm not gonna worry about too much unless they're really hanging like this guy. Then we'll just trim it up just like that. Okay, so now we have that rib cleaned up. We're not gonna take any more off of this. You can see how pretty that looks. All right guys, so we've trimmed up our ribs, and in most cases, you're gonna have this big membrane in the back. And it looks like my butcher has already taken care of some of that for me. I can't seem to get any sort of membrane off the back of these ribs. They do have a little bit of one, but today we're gonna skip this step. I can't get it off. I've tried cutting, I've tried pulling with the paper towel, and it just isn't going to work, but that's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and flip these guys over, and we're gonna go ahead and take our paper towel, and we're just going to dab and dry out the meat a little bit. This is gonna help everything stick to it, and we're gonna go ahead and do that on all sides. All right, once you have everything nice and dried up, you can then put on your slather. Many people will use mustard, and in today's case, I'm gonna be doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove my glove, food safety first. And we're gonna take our mustard here that I've already shaken up, and we're gonna go ahead and start slathering up our ribs. Now again, if you're not a mustard fan, that's okay. You're not gonna taste this, guys, as you've seen 100,000 times before if you've watched any other barbecue recipes online. Do not worry about this, but you could use something else. You could use Worcestershire sauce. You can honestly even use like a mayo. So we're gonna use mustard, the old tried and true, both sides, and on the bones as well. This is gonna, again, give us that nice binder for our seasoning to stick to. And we're gonna do this to both of our ribs. I'm gonna show you guys seasoning up one of these so you don't have to watch it 2 times, and then we'll get them on the Traeger Ironwood XL very shortly. And today, all right, today we're gonna be using the Texas sugar from Meat Church. And we're also gonna just be using my Man Kitchen pepper can, and this thing is an absolute beast. And the reason I brought this out here was not only to show you guys, but also because it's just incredible how much pepper this puts out. But I wanna have a little peppery flavor on this along with the sweetness of the Texas sugar. Now that does have a little pepper in it, but it's more sugar forward. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. First thing first, pepper first. It's gonna help to stick. And then, because I need 2 hands here, we're going to glove up again and get the other side going. So we'll go ahead and pepper cannon. This thing is an absolute monster. You can do just a little grind. You can see how much it's putting out. It is absolutely a monster. So pepper that meat nice and good. All right, now we're going to flip it over and we're gonna do the other side. But first, I guess on this one, since I have no gloves on, I'm going to Texas sugar. Now, this is a brand new bottle. I think I've cracked it just to taste, yep. And we're gonna go ahead and open that up. We will go ahead and do a nice even typewriter motion on our ribs all the way down, giving us a nice color, a nice even coating of seasoning all the way down the ribs. You can go back and forth if you need to. Make sure you get all that side. So that's looking beautiful. Let's go ahead and flip it over and we'll try the other side. All right, same thing on this side. A little bit of pepper cannon action. Be nice and high off the meat so you get a good even coating, and you definitely get down the sides of the bones. And now we're going to do the same thing we did. This side, you're not going to get a ton of flavor, but because most people eat with the rib up, you're still going to get a lot of seasoning flavor on the palate as soon as you take a bite. So we definitely want to make sure we do this. Now, we're going to let these set for about 10 minutes before we put them on the Traeger. I'm going to go ahead and season the other one up, and let's get them on the grill. All right, guys, here she is, the Ironwood XL, the newest from Traeger. Super excited and proud to have this on my patio. No, I didn't get rid of my other stuff. This is just an addition to the line. It's on super smoke right now. You can see how much smoke is coming out of it, and what you can't see is going outside of the kitchen. But boy, is this gonna be exciting. This is my first cook on this. Again, 225, super smoke. Look how beautiful these ribs turned out. I am really proud of that. That Meat Church Texas sugar with a little extra pepper, I think, is gonna be a great seasoning for this first cook. So without further ado, guys, we're gonna go ahead and set these up, and we're gonna use this top grate. I just dropped a big piece of excess meat down there, so that'll be fun. And I'm gonna go ahead and lay number 2 up right here as well. So we're gonna have one that's closer to the fire pot, one that's further away. We'll be able to tell the difference between that later. And this one over here is a little meatier. In fact, I'm going to turn this, the meaty side, towards the fire. Although on a pellet grill, you're not gonna have that much fire. So, all right, guys, so the ribs are on the Traeger Ironwood XL, and I just want to spend a couple minutes talking about why I decided to buy something like this. And no, for those of you that have been with me since the beginning, I still have my Masterbuilt Gravity Series 800. I just wanted to add to the stable. And the reason I wanted to add is, well, you can never have enough grills, or smokers in this case, but I wanted something to try. I wanted to try the pellet world. I've heard good things, I've heard bad things, and I know that Traeger is one of the best in the game. Sure, there's plenty of haters out there, but this Ironwood really piqued my interest with some of the features that it has. So I'm pretty excited to get it. It's brand new. I think it just released last month, so I'm pretty fortunate to be able to get one so soon. No, it's not sponsored by Traeger. I am a part of their affiliate program, so if you click the link in the description below and buy a Traeger after seeing something like this, it does help me support the channel and buy more meat for you guys to cook even more. So thanks for that. So speaking of the grill itself, I was very impressed. Right now it's running in super smoke, and I was very impressed with how much smoke it was able to put out. I'm just going to open it for you guys here, and you can see already it's really cranking. Once it gets a temperature and I stop opening it for video, it starts to pulse the fan in super smoke mode, and that really starts to dump a ton of extra smoke out. I was really impressed, and frankly, it puts out more smoke than my Masterbuilt at times, and it's a much cleaner, consistent smoke. So for me, having a pellet grill during the week and filming on the weekends when I don't have a lot of time to do this channel, but I love doing this, this really fits the bill. It's super quick. I can turn it on. I don't have to worry about filling it up with charcoal, throw some pellets in and send it. To me, that's huge. Also, the D2 touchscreen controller that's over here, I'll put some B-roll in. Really nice system. The firmware updates were easy. The hooking it up and setting it up with your phone is easy. Dialing in a temperature is easy. Seasoning it was easy. So for me, that is a huge thing. Traeger continues to focus on convenience, and that really just sets the bar high. It does have 2 ports for probes, so I do like that. Again, I don't really use a lot of probes. I use my instant thermopen, but it is nice that it has that feature. Also, I believe in the future it might be able to connect with, and it may even do it now, and forgive me if I don't know, correct me in the comments, it will connect with their meter probes. So that's really cool, just like the Timberline. Now, why did I choose this over a Timberline? Well, A, it's a lot cheaper. This ran me about $19.99, so $2 grand. so it's not a cheap investment. But from a timber line, you have obviously you have the cabinets below, you have the induction surface that helps you cook on the side, and this doesn't have that. It just has a nice shelf. It still has the pop and lock system on board, which to me is a pro and a con. And you can kind of see it in the back of the shot here, this rail up front. That rail allows you to hook up accessories, whether it's a seasoning cart or a cup holder or hooks for your tools. Kind of cool, but also kind of frustrating because I had to buy a front shelf where, guess what? My Masterbuilt came with one out of the box and I use it all the time. So not having a front shelf here is kind of frustrating, but I will have that. I do have that on order, so I will be getting that addition to this. I love that my pellet containers fit below it, so I can have one to, I think, to 5 down there, maybe 4 because the pot's in the way. And speaking of that, the ash keg on this system, same as the Timberline, the Ironwood ash keg, and I'll show you how that works. Click it in, pull it out, all your ash goes in there, all your grease goes in there, and it will remain to be seen if we have to do a lot of cleaning on this. I did notice quite a bit of ash last night after a seasoning cycle, but it's got nothing to stick to, so maybe that will change. Obviously, you're gonna have to maintain a pellet grill. You're gonna have to do a little bit of maintenance, but I have to do maintenance on my Masterbuilt. I have to do maintenance on my other smokers, so that's just part of the game. And if you're not into that, guys, just don't get into smoking. Last but not least, I really do love the pellet hopper, and I love the fact that it tells you how many pellets you have left in the app. It uses a sensor. I think it's an optical type sensor that kind of determines how much is in the pot. And for me right now, I think it's running, and I'm using my phone to film so I can't check. I think it's running about 70% after last night. I think I ran it for about 3.5 hours, 4 hours after the seasoning cycle. So almost probably a 5-hour cycle on it last night just to really break it in good and make sure it was working for today. So that's a really cool feature. So I'm really stoked about that. If you can just hear, it just kind of shut the fans off. It's sitting at 225. Now we're gonna start to hear that super smoke, that pulsation of the fan, and there it went. So it's gonna keep pulsing and you'll see a ton more smoke start to firing out the back of this. So anyway, guys, that's my short thing. Again, link in the description below takes you right to the Ironwood page. It helps us support the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but let's get back to the cook. It's the real reason you came here. All right, so we're gonna let these ribs settle in on the smoker for 2 to 3 hours. We're gonna keep checking here. We're gonna spritz them after about the first 30 minutes, 40 minutes, every probably 45 minutes after that. Getting some smoke in my eyes there. And we're gonna let them really get a nice bark before we do a whole lot more. So come back, guys, in about 3 hours and we'll check out what our ribs look like. And while we're waiting, guys, I just wanted to show you the amount of smoke that Super Smoke is putting out the back of the Traeger. You can see it pulsing there. It's currently in the fan cycle. Fan is now off. Fan is now on. You can just see it's constant smoke. So really impressed by Super Smoke right now. You can even see how the back of the grill is starting to even get a seasoning from that smoke. Really good at 225 here. All right, guys, about 3 hours in here, we have pretty good looking ribs, honestly. A little bit of pullback, a lot of marrow coming out at the ends there. That's that dark little bit there. Not a crazy heavy bark, but not bad if you look at that. I'd say that's a pretty darn good looking rib. We're gonna go ahead and pull these off. Now I've got a friend coming over who really loves fall off the bone ribs, and so he requested that tonight. So we're gonna kind of do the 3-2-1 method, so to speak. So 3 hours here, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours depending on when he gets here in the wrap, and then about 30 minutes or more for the rest. So we'll probably break up that time, maybe not exact, but as you can see, for the first cook, this is looking pretty darn good. All right, guys, let's get to the wrap. Many of you have seen this before. This is nothing new, but I figured I'd just show it for those of you wanting to see my process. So I really like this extra wide Reynolds wrap. Really nice, heavy duty stuff. Extra wide. We don't want this to break and leak because we want those ribs to sort of braise. So it's really getting smoky in here now that the wind has changed directions. Feels like I'm in a smokehouse. So we'll go ahead and grab our rib. And before we do that, actually, I'm going to lay down a nice layer of brown sugar. So I've got about a cup of brown sugar here. So we're just going to, this brown sugar could probably use a replacement. It's kind of starting to stick together as it sat out here. But we're going to lay down a nice little band of brown sugar, which is just going to help give a nice flavor to the top of those ribs. So keep pouring that out till it feels about right. Your ribs are going to be sitting in this, the meat part, not the bone part. Once that's down, go ahead and take your butter, which we've got some butter here. So we're going to do 3 pats, basically. 1, 2, 3. You may have to adjust that for the length of your rack of ribs. We'll go ahead and take our first rib here, looking really nice. A little bit of flex, not a whole lot. Some bones are poking out, so I'd say that's looking really nice. Smells nice and smoky. And we're gonna lay this down into the butter. Now, you're gonna see me adjust the butter here. And that's gonna be just like that. Yeah, you know what? Actually, let's throw some honey on there as well. So a little extra. Now you have to be careful. The more sugar you add, honey obviously, brown sugar obviously, the more capability you have of burning or getting too much of a black or caramelized sugar on board your ribs. So I just do a nice light douse of honey, flip it on over, and set that rib down on that butter. And now you're just going to take and wrap your ribs up nice. Be careful not to puncture your aluminum foil here, because what that will do is let it leak out, and we don't want any of that goodness coming out. So just a nice wrap there. Pull up the other edge, settle that in, and we're gonna now cook these just like this. You can cook them either way. A lot of people do meat up. We're gonna try meat down, and we're gonna let that meat just settle in there. So it might be a fatal flaw, but hopefully it works out pretty well. So we'll set that guy aside, and we'll go ahead and pull out a little bit larger piece. Same process. You can do it the other way around. You can put the ribs down first and lay everything on top. I like to just kind of do it this way. It seems like the most effective. So again, just kind of get your brown sugar down. Again, the more you use, the more careful you need to be. And we'll go ahead and put our butter down. 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna go ahead and bring our ribs over. These ones are a lot thicker, so you don't have as much flex. You can see there's not a lot of flex here yet. So that's gonna be a telltale of how this particular rack turns out. A lot of times when I do no wrap ribs, you're waiting for the ribs to have that break, that bend over, and this wouldn't be anywhere near close to done. But again, I'm doing these sort of more of a full off the bone type of rib, so things are gonna be a little different. So a little honey, ribs are going down on that butter and that brown sugar. Settle it in nice, go ahead and wrap. Nice and tight, guys. You really want this to be a very tight wrap. But again, be careful not to puncture that tin foil at all. So get that set up now, and we'll go ahead and throw these on. We're gonna do meat down, bone up. So let's get these on the smoker. All right, here we go. We're gonna throw these again on the top. I'm putting the thicker one on the left this time, and the thinner one on the right. I don't think that has much to do. I could temp this and see where things are at, but we'll let these set up now for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Pull them off, rest them, and we'll get ready to eat. Go ahead and take number 1 out. Oh yeah. Oh good, I'm not gonna be able to, probably not gonna pour all these juices everywhere. Number 1, beautiful color, look at that. Number 2, this one was a little thinner and looks like it finished a little faster, but oh yeah, I could drink that. But guys, I'll call that a win. First Traeger cook, first run for the Ironwood. Lots of flex here. These aren't going to be super fall off the bone, but we got some bone poke through here. But I would have liked a little more, pull back on the bones. But this is really impressive. I'll get the camera over here, guys, and I'll let you see these two in their beauty. But this is beautiful, guys. We're gonna cut these up and have them for dinner. That's how I do ribs. That was the first cook on the Ironwood. Pretty excited. I'll put it in the description how they actually turned out, because I don't want to say they were amazing and we eat them and they aren't, but I'm guessing they're gonna be. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch you guys on the next one.